Put my tweet out. I have too many windows open. Okay, so we are back. It is Wednesday. That means it is house tours day. And we are on NA side, entity. As most of you that have been following along with us realize, this year we started alternating each week between the regions. It's something that folks have been asking me to do for quite a long while, so I'm happy to get that actually going. It's not as I think before I was probably more in the habit of like touring like up to five or so homes a week. I've kind of knocked that down to about 2, 3 homes each time, so it's going to take a little longer to get through everybody's places, but I'm in it for the long haul. So as long as I'm able to access the game and get to everybody's houses, we'll eventually get to your places too. So just a few things to mention. There is maintenance today, so if you're wanting to get some playtime in before that hits, now's a good time to do it. It's supposed to be about a 3-hour maintenance today, so you might want to take advantage of getting some playtime in this morning before you go watching this. I mean, this you can pick up, later down the road if you want, so it's not that big of an issue. It'll be starting at our regular time, 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time. Also, just a mention again about some folks that are looking for some builders contributions. One is, I believe it's a commission. I think it was Maximus actually was asking about it, looking for an NA designer, I believe, to redo their plot. There's a little description on my Twitch channel page. If you look in the Builders Wanted section, you'll find out a little bit more of that. I've linked his channel so that you can contact him directly via Twitch if you want to, ask him about greater details and see if you guys can work out something. But also probably a little bit more up our viewers' alley is the museum effort that is going on NA side. Now, while it's only going to be presented on NA, EU players are encouraged to participate. You can just reach out to them on the forums. I think they even leave their Discord name and a couple other ways of contacting them. This one is I think it's Seraphin Blades. That's the name of them on the forum. They have opened up something called the Museum of Natural Talent. And if any of you that participated a few months back, we had a museum challenge where we created artworks, paintings and sculptures. It was for a different player that had organized it up, and they had planned to put everybody's works on displays, but that never came about. And Blades decided to put something together in a similar fashion, but wanted to actually follow through with displaying the artwork of fellow builders. I took a look yesterday just to see the progress, and it looks amazing. I have a museum set up. Well, actually, I have a couple of museums set up on my own plots, and they are nothing compared to this one. They've set it up really nice. It looks very posh looking. They have separate little sections for depending on the type of artwork that people submit. They'll be in different types of display frames or containers or whatever you want to call them. But again, that information, there's a link to Blades' forum thread where you can get all the information, all of the stipulations as to the amount of items you're allowed to use, and all kinds of things about how to work out what they're looking for, how to reach them. Now, Blades wanted me to emphasize that there's flexibility when it comes to the items used and how many and everything. I think it's not that they're becoming desperate to get submissions, but I think they want to try and be as manageable and flexible as they can to encourage more players to contribute their works. So if you have any questions, maybe there's an item that you use that's not so easy to get a hold of, and you're concerned that they might not be able to get it, or you want to help them get it, or whatever. Please do reach out to them. Blades mentioned that those that have participated in the museum challenge from earlier, if you want to contribute any of those works, they would be more than ecstatic to have those on display as well. So Aurora and Poi and I think Maddie and I don't know who all else, don't recall who all else participated, but any of you that have some artworks that you'd like to share on NA side, please do take the time to reach out to Blades. As I said, while it's an NA plot, EU players can still get their works contributed there by just reaching out to Blades through the forum, providing the set codes via KBT. I think in that situation, you might want to make sure that most of the stuff is pretty easy to obtain. It would make it easier on Blades in that regard. But again, they're very willing to work with whoever is interested in participating in this like collaboration. So please do consider it and try and see if you can contribute some things, because I think it's a really great deal that they've put this together and are working to continue expanding it as people submit their stuff. Oh, you didn't put, I thought you did. Maybe it was during one of your off times. Couldn't remember. I know Maddie did, and Aurora for sure, because she made like half a dozen pictures. And of course, I made some things, but I don't really count my stuff. But good morning, everyone. Poi, Bones, anyone else that happens to be lurking around. I will mention that I do plan on showcasing the museum by Blades, not this week or next, but probably the following week. It's not going to be a complete plot, obviously, because they're still waiting for more people to submit works, but I think it'll maybe bring a little extra attention, and we'll go over some of the bits. And of course, I will be trying to track down all of the names of the players that have contributed so that we can give them proper credit for each piece that they've submitted to that museum effort. So yeah, something to look forward to. So today, yeah, you did the, I think it was like Art Deco thing, and then the vase looked like a cut open tire is what it reminded me of. So today I have a few lovely homes on NA side. This is the Temple of Boo by Boo Bonica. You can see they have a little, looks like a little TARDIS here. We saw one, I guess it was last week. I think it was that one. Similar, but this one's a little bit more basic than the one previous. I think the one previous had a lot more details on the outside, but this is, you know what it is when you look at it. It's just the metal dividers, the graded floor panels, and some hammers for the handles there. Even got one of those Protostar hatchery things. It's like a goo wad thing. I don't know what it's called actually, but this one caught my eye. It feels simple because there's not like, sometimes we'll go into a plot and it's like so much stuff going on, you don't know where to start, what to look at. This one is, I think, a really great showcase for how someone can take the basic building blocks, and I'm talking the domes, the cylinders, the curved walls, the arches, the basic building blocks that you can get straight from the housing vendor, and turn it into something really beautiful. I love the way this plot is put together. the attention to all of the, like, these tiered walkways here, how they've used the domes or cylinders as stairs and having it all nicely laid out. It just looks really nice, even though it's, again, it's really simplified decor. They didn't have to go and hunt down any special pieces to build most of what you see here. And I really think it's a nice, lovely place to come and check out what you can do with it. So right off the bat, you can see how they've covered up the entrance. I don't know exactly what they're using for the base of it. I suspect it's, I don't know, it could be a lamp post bottom, it could be the bottom of a, I have no idea. Um, but you can see they've covered up most of it. They even have an Osun statue up top. For those of you that have struggled trying to find a way to cover the entranceway, there is a thread in the housing subforum of the official forums that discusses it and has a lot of suggestions by people that have managed to do it, explaining what pieces they use. Some even leave the KBT codes for them and give like little screenshots of what it looked like for them. And this is just another example. But again, most of it is like the basic building blocks. You have your pillars, your dome, your curved walls, and it just looks really, really nice. It's slick and clean, and I just love the way this looks. There's so much you could do with it as far as applying it to some specific kind of build. And yes, they use the Draken version, but I'm sure it would look fantastic with any of the textures. This just, you know, has more of a stony look. I imagine if we had some kind of a brick version, that would look amazing too. Hey Faye, good morning. For the water here, I imagine it's, I suspect it's the exotic silver chalice, just because I'm able to sink into the water a bit and it's bluish. But I can't say for sure. There's, you know, in the beginning we were rather limited on the type of items that we could use for water, but as new items have been introduced and new tricks and things have been discovered, it's become pretty varied, so I can't always guess accurately, but because of the shininess, how I'm able to kind of sink into the water, that's what it reminds me of. It looks really pretty though. This is one of those instances where they did decide to leave the clutter off of the ground. That's important when you have walkways and stuff like this that are flush to the ground. If you had your clutter showing, that would be popping up straight through the walkways. So to make sure that doesn't happen, they've left the clutter off, but they've added some greenery themselves. So it looks really nice. But you can see they've got these little waterfalls coming out. You can see they've taken care to make the tubes, and then the sides, those are just floors. And then putting down the water just really looks, it looks slick and nice. I really love this little build. I'm not sure what these are. I want to say it's just the Falcon campfire thingy, but I'm not sure. It might be one of those that's like on the really tall pole. Hey Link, good morning. And Flood. Everybody's joining in. I appreciate it. And of course, for those that don't recognize it, these are the portable planters. I really honestly don't remember where you get those, but I had like a ton of them. I wanted to say it was from an expedition or something, but I honestly don't remember. But you can see they've lined the sidewalks all with the pillars using the Draken version as well to kind of match. Notice that they even have it so that there's a little bit of a lip here, so that the walkway part is flush, but they do have a little bit of a lip here. Just a little, it's just little touches like that that make it interesting. If we come down this way, now they do have several fab kits. They've got some portal ones, and you'll see how they did those nicely. The hot springs one, and of course the whirlwind. But even though it seems like, for a lot of plots, maybe they don't match the themes, while this one has a specific theme, these don't seem out of place to me. Even the whirlwind one. It just kind of seems to fit. But I love this little part here. Simple, but this could work so well in a maze garden, for like almost a cemetery type thing. This could be a little park. You could add some benches for people to sit and everything like that. You could put any statue. You could make a statue for yourself if you wanted, if you didn't want to use the standalone. Oh gosh, I hope you're not having problems. I haven't had any trouble with Twitch lately, but that's not to say we wouldn't have any. Um, these here, notice the little, I don't know what you call these. It's not exactly a sconce, but kind of. It's like, I don't know, I'm sure they have a special name, but it's just a combination of domes, cylinders to make this fancy little, call those things, I don't know. But just little details like that, that's really nice. And of course the bushes lining along. Let me slow down here. Here you have the little stepping stone path for anyone that's looking for a lot cleaner looking stepping stones for your garden or for a pathway up to your cottage or something. These work ideally. It could be either the cylinders or the domes that you use. It doesn't matter since you're going to be pretty much using it flush. But look how nice and neat that is. It doesn't have to be those regular stones and stuff. I forget the name of this Eldon piece. You can see they're using it kind of like a little, you can come here, light some candles or something. Now this part, I want to show a little bit to the distance here. You can see it starts on this side. It actually goes all the way across. It repeats on this side. So it's a whole long, like, wall type thing that's going on. And they have it tiered up. So just think of how many pieces are being used for these stairs. It's very matchy-matchy to the way they did the entrance as well. Oh gosh, that's bad. Don't take a screenshot or anything. But look how this looks. Isn't that crazy how many pieces were used? It's just the same piece, size down or up, however you want to look at it. And just nicely spaced. It's a very smooth walk up and down. You don't get caught and have to jump or anything. It's really meticulously done. I imagine they probably just set up one height and then just work it down from there until they got it the way they wanted. It gives you a great shot of the temple here. You can see how it goes all the way across and then back down on the other side. Great place for showcasing certain items that you want to have stand out as well. Look at this little bridge. It's just pillars. The spaces are narrow enough that your character doesn't fall through or get stuck. This would be great for like castles or other fortified type of structures. Yes, there are some little bits of where they've had it turned to get it to position just right, but that really doesn't bother me too much, considering the end result of all these little tiered tower thingies. But again, they've got these little walkways all the way up. I mean, this could be like, you could zigzag it and fashion it just a little bit different, have your like little wall of China going on. Notice how they're alternating the flames between the brazier and this other thingy. I don't know what it's called. But I love the way this looks and how it curves and then just goes up into this main part. This would be great for, like if you're looking for a nice smooth way to transition something from, say maybe this is like carved into a mountain or something, I could easily see that. And then have this built into it to get up to the top. I don't know the names of most of these olden pieces, so I'm not even going to try. But they fit nicely. You can see the biodome fab kits down below. It looks like two of them. I don't know which ones they are. I want to say that's Wildarun maybe, and that one's Galeris or so. I'm not really sure. But you can see how it's replicated on both sides. Now that's not something you can't just like copy this and then slap it over here via KBT. You have to do it individually. I don't think it mirrors like you would expect. I could be wrong, but I mean like you could probably build one tower and then just replicate it and move it down, I guess. And of course, if you go along the base, you can see how they've treated each little tower section. Each bottom is a little bit different because, again, they didn't want to change the size of these per se. They just changed the elevation, really. So they had to change how each one is attached or not attached to the ground below. So some actually go all the way to the ground and others are domed off on the bottoms. But then they've added some, like this one has a little display here. One of those nice Osun pieces holding up the center bit. The very peak of this little structure. And then pretty much just a mirror image from the other side. It's a really nice little deal. Now you will notice that they did add some elements to the biodome bits, and I thought it was a pretty clever way of kind of making the portals work. Usually when there's fab kits like these, a lot of people will try to cover up where the portal is, because there was a time when you could let the, what is it, the repair or whatever run out of a fab kit, and once it was broken, the portal stopped working, so you didn't have to worry about that glowy doorway to wherever. And mostly people just wanted the look of the biome and not necessarily the portal that goes with it. But they've changed how that works, so you can't actually get rid of it. You have to either decide to let it show or cover it up entirely. And this one chose to let it show, but they set it up in a way that it looks like it belongs. So they've got these little archways over them. Again, it's using the pillars, the Draken pillars, same as what they're using for the trim all along the sidewalks here, and it blends really well. I mean, it fits with the structure that they've got built up and everything. So I thought that was a cute idea, one way of making it work. I don't think they really put anything up in the sky too much. I mean, there's a few floaty things. Here's the, I guess this would be the cemetery. Again, matchy-matchy with the archways and matches the ones around the portals and a couple other places. Looks really nice. You can see they're using the Draken walls. That's the one that's got like marbled texture. A lot of people like to use it for dirt, including myself, and they're using them as the walls here. I think it almost looks like really nicely trimmed hedges. Because if you look here, they look more green here than they do here. And it could be that maybe they've been color shifted. I'm not sure, but it's something to think about because that marbling really gives it some, I mean, if you're not really adamant about going with actual bushes, this would be one way to get like some weird bushes that are kind of like super precisely trimmed hedges by using the Draken walls. Again, it could be just the lighting here that kind of makes them look a little green, but when I came here, that's what I thought of. It looked like super trimmed hedges to me. Now, of course, they have these individual, I don't want to say layouts, but offerings, I guess, for the deceased. Just a collection. It's one way of getting to be able to show some of like the Shades Eve decor, like the urns and the gourds. They just got different little arrangements. And I like how they're using the paws to this one. It has another way of setting up a little offering. And this was a little creepy, having the skull floating above the fountain. Again, very organized, and this is the kind of build I would probably be comfortable in trying to create something similar because it's very precise and mirrored and everything has its place. But when it comes to like natural forests and things like that, I'm at a loss because I can't make it look natural. It looks very forced and awful. Here's another little display, a little bit of meteorite asteroid thingy. This was a fun way of displaying those stones you get from, I think it's Alpha Sanctum. You complete it once, you get one of these floaty stones, and then it unlocks uh, the rest of them, and you can buy them straight from the housing vendor. Here's a lovely display of that. The fave for those that like water features. It's one of the taurine items. Again, I think they're using the chalice for this water effect and using items that have a little bit of animation lends the idea that this is actual water, that it's moving, even though it's actually not. This is actually one of those, I think it's one of those big, tall flowers on a stalk kind of thing, and they just pushed it all the way on so you just see the top of it. Almost made it all the way around here. This here is a nice little, I call it like it looks like a bird fountain. I want to say the flame is from the tiki torch. The only one I can think of off the top of my head that has that look to it. But it could be one of the other torches or something. But it's just one of the bowls on top of a dome and a cylinder. Very simple, but you could easily, change it into an actual bird bath. Put a bird on there and you're good. Could be a thing for the holy water in a church or something. Notice this little alcove here built into it. Just a little something extra. I love this part as well. Just the way it's set up. Lots of the winding rivers for the water effect here, and then of course the waterfalls, replicating again the look that they gave to the entrance here. Same idea. Mostly pillars for the bracketry, the trim. Kind of, I don't know, Babylonish, sort of. What it kind of reminds me of. Now you can see they've got this built up so that there's like little gaps so you can actually see inside here, but you can't get to it from down here. You have to actually go up before you can go back down. The terrain thing above, are you talking about the waterfall one? Um, I think it's just a drop. I honestly don't know, and I don't know the exact name for it. It's just the terrain thing above. Yeah, I want to say it comes from, well, I know there's several taurine pieces like the heads of the ladies here, the taurine head statue. I know that comes from like the rare um, boss drops. And I want to say that's where that one comes from too, but I think it's a little less common than like the head statue. But again, I have no idea what the name is, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would spit it out and tell you. Notice they've got these here. These are crafted, I know for sure. They've got the waterfalls here coming off. But all the way around, you can have a sneak peek. They're using, I think the gap might be just narrow enough, even without the use of these little hanging bits, to keep someone out from going into it. But they've added these little bits to make sure that it's clear that you're not supposed to go through them. But I like how they've got all these like the gongs and the chains. You can see it's all the way around. Look at the pillars too. Usually when we have these kind of pillars, a lot of people we use the actual pillars and then rotate them off each other to make that column. And they've just used the cylinders for this. You can see it's got a tiered top and a tiered bottom. It's really nice. I think the main issue would be having a floor thick enough to hide whatever part of the cylinder you don't want showing up at the top or the bottom, however you want to look at it. So to be able to get to the inside, you have to go to the stairs here. Now these stairs, I think those are the ones you could get from that event. Don't remember what it was exactly. It's the one a lot of people use. I think there's like a quirk about the way it works from the bottom side, I think. And even these here, you're actually kind of floating above the steps. So it looks a little odd, and I think people have figured out some weird things to do with it when it's oversized or turned upside down or whatever, but those steps, I believe, they managed to get a hold of enough to make this nice little entry. So here you have a better look of the temple from above. Again, I love the symmetry of it. It's a way I tend to build, so it makes better sense to me, I guess. Notice they didn't overdo the overgrowth. A lot of people, including myself, have been guilty of using so much of that stuff, and really just a few spots here and there, and it doesn't overtake too much. Now you'll see that there is a stairway down here. We'll do that here in a minute. I'm going to stay up top first. So you have this upper area. Again, they're replicating the columns that they did below. and added a roofing type of thing. So let's see, show this a little better. Can't get my camera to zoom out too much. You can see the pillars and then the floors used for the roof. Yes, there is a bit of flashing. I don't know if it's just my graphics settings that causes that, but it's the price you pay when you're trying to be exact about positioning. Um, so you're having some overlap on items and it tends to cause them to flicker like that. Just a personal decision the builder has to make on whether or not they're okay with that. Again, I don't know what the pieces, the names of these are, unfortunately. But you get a good view of part we toured just beforehand. Statue of the Elden Evoker. Thanks, Rhoda. That's why I love having you guys around. You can help fill in the blanks. Notice the underlighting for these statues here. I like the way they've done that. Give it a little bit of an accent, especially considering how dark it is here. And then, so we came up the stairs, now we're going down the stairs, and that brings us to the interior of the part that we couldn't get to through these little areas. Maybe that's a new creature we can have added. So here's the heart of the temple, and if you position just right now, if you're at a certain angle, of course I'm getting it right smack dab. If you're looking at like the candles, you'll get the activate button, but if you position it just right, you should be able to get the door. If you can't get it just popping up itself, right here they have it visible so you can get to it. That's where the hatch is. Notice they've covered up the door with one of those crypts like they have up above, which again gives it a different look. I thought that was kind of neat. It's one of those, you don't want to get too close because then the door button disappears. You just have to back off just a little bit right here and then you should have it pop up. And so then you're brought into this little inner sanctum thingy. There's not a whole lot here, but I like how it's presented. Obviously, you've got the water going on. You've got lots of weird, creepy, strange stuff growing on the walls. There's the little egg sacs on the ceiling along with the mushrooms. And then you have this little, I don't know what you call it, raised area. Being able to use some of that Osun bits here, replicating some of the materials from outside, including the Draken pillars and such. Getting nice use of those columns. They very well could have used the column structures that they did outside, but they chose to use these, I think because of the lighting, and it kind of looks glowy and a little creepy. Over here, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, like a little mini shrine to the little Garganto or whatever his name is. But it was a place for them to put their travel posters too, which was a little weird. Creepy eyes, lots of skulls hanging. And then, of course, they have the little offering table. Now, you can walk right onto this little part, but probably more fun to use the door before you do. And you find the little gaping maw with the data escape window and then the eyeballs poking out. So I guess this is like for some sacrifices or something. Just some creepy stuff. Even got a little eyeball there. Kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones when they had the, was it the Temple of Doom? Kind of what it gives off that vibe. That's another thing. When you are covering the bunker house door, always test it. I've gotten into trouble with it myself by having to rework something that I did up top. Always test how you come out of it to make sure that nobody gets stuck. This works out great. You don't get stuck. You just kind of hop right out of the little container there. But I've been in a few homes where it's a little tricky. Same goes for the hollow crypt. If you decide to cover it up or cage it in or whatever, make sure that either, if you're going to cover it up completely, make sure that there is no possible way that someone could uh, accidentally croak on your plot to cause them to go to the hollow crypt. Um, Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in whatever you put in. It's kind of irritating. Granted, I know there's the little crystal that puts you right back onto the teleporter, but it's still, not everybody is familiar with that, and it's a little awkward if you kind of force them to leave your plot just to get out of it. So that's The Temple of Boo by Boo Bonica. Again, it's not as overly done as some plots we've come across, but I like this a lot, so I wanted to share it with you guys and hope that it gives you some ideas of how you can make some really interesting structures, especially like the columns and this type of stair step tiered arrangement. I really love that, and even the waterworks and stuff and how they've done that. It's really nice. I think it's a clean kind of architecture type stuff. Okay, so the next test we're going to go to is by Victoria Hemmings. Now this one I hunted and I couldn't find any access to like an interior. I imagine there is one somewhere, but I couldn't find it, and it's rather dark. So I apologize in advance for that, but I'm going to try and show as much of the detail as I can of the parts that are actually visible. Again, I couldn't say for sure what they're using to cover the portal, but you can see they've managed to wall it in nicely. I can't say for sure what all they're using. It just looks like granite walls and then 2x4s and such for the trim. You can see they've pretty much done that all the way through here. Got like a red coloring almost. I have no idea if that's just the lighting that they chose or they've actually dyed, color shifted some of this. But you can see we've got the entrance here. They've got some faux doors. It looks like using the what's that called? It looks like just 2x4s that they put together themselves. But another thing you could use is the staircase landings. That's a big fave. Hammers for the handles. Just a layer of glass to give a little bit of a cover. And then in you go to this really fantastic tavern bar. It's called the Pubbington Post. So when I saw the name originally, I thought it was like going to be like a publishing house or something. This Post to me, it reminds me of like a newspaper or something, but it's totally not what this was. So let's see, where do we begin? Let's just start over here. We have this raised area for the little seating. The couch or sofa-like thing is just the star pillows all the way around. some of the drapes for accent. Just a really cozy little corner. Over here we have the stage for the performers, singer. There's I guess that's supposed to be a stripper pole thing. It's kind of weird. Um, someone doing karaoke night, someone coming up for some comedy. I don't know. It's the charming bars, drapes, speakers. Over here you've got the fireplace. Again, it's really hard to see because of the lighting, but it looks like the ornate fencing, the rusty fence that you get from the vendor. It looks like two of them uh, sandwiched together to make this little grating logs, and I believe it's the blazing fire track, the one you get from the racing, the Z-Pre Invitational event. Over here is another little sectional. Notice they've made these little footstool type of things, or actual stools. It's just the metal crate, I think, and then Chua cushions on top. It's the same crates here. This is the fave kind of way of using the orange chairs. They just stick them all together and make it a little couch. Chua pillows for the sides and bottom, I think. I love this too. This here acting as like a lit up shelf. It's actually the top of one of the bars, and they've added some sconces for the mood lighting and then topped it with the bookshelves. Thought this is a really nice idea. I've not seen it used like that before, so. Back here in the red light area, you have these little private rooms. I love the little doors here. It's just stairs, I think, or 2x4s individually lined up there, almost like Venetian blind style. Pillars for the handles and part of the trim. Lots of those drapes. Chua pillows for this nice little lounger area. Again with the stripper pole thing. Again, apologies for the lighting. It's really dark here. Trying to think. This, I think, is the top of the regular bar they've placed here. That's what it looks like. There's one room. You go down. You can come into another one. Slightly different arrangement for the cushions. Little plate for the stage thing. And then this one has a little bit of a sauna deal going on. It's just a file here sticking out of the pillar. Again, with this particular water, I think it's that same deal, the chalice again. I can't say for sure though. And then this door leads to the backstage of the main stage that we saw up front. So you have the little desk, kind of like a vanity mirror type thing going on, the clothing closet. And if you walk all the way around, you come out to the stage here. There's actually a performer's room in the back. Then we have the main bar. So you have this lovely little wine rack arrangement up top. The barrels for the beer, those are feeding troughs end to end, open end to open end, and then hammers for the taps. I've used that myself. It's a really handy way of having some kind of like kegs that are all wood, as opposed to we either have the silver keg, which is full metal, or we've got the wood and metal one, which is half and half. And it's a little bit more oblong, like egg shaped than anything. But here you can see a little better the wine bottle racks, just 2x4s, nicely spaced. And they've had to individually put in every single wine bottle there. Now, I know there's a lot of builders that like to use the interactables. And unfortunately, unless the person that runs the plot is actually online at the time that you're visiting, those type of things don't work. But if you'll notice in a lot of the places that we've been visiting in here, there's been a lot of lever switches. I imagine if they were the type to use the interactables, there would be some special use for each one. But there's, it's anyone's guess as to what it might be. Maybe this lifts the little divider here so that the waiter can go straight out through this little gap, like a little door that, pops open. Who knows? Again, more of those troughs for the kegs, using the knives for darts. Notice how they've got the flooring. It's all tiered in several different ways. And that's all I could find in here. I couldn't figure out if there was more to it. Uh, what they have here is pretty amazing. It's a great setting for a group that wants to come to a nice, cozy kind of tavern bar, girly house thing. But I couldn't figure out if I was just missing a secret passage somewhere. So please, my apologies if I have actually missed a crucial part of this place. Let's see, I know there's the bathrooms here. I think these are bathrooms. It could be just changing rooms. But see how there's like the lever here, and then it looks like there's some space behind. I imagine maybe if that's actually controlled, it would like pop up. Then again, maybe not. Maybe it's just supposed to be showers, and those are the switches for the showers. I absolutely have no idea. And then the last place is this room here. It's just like it looks like half dining, half sauna thing. Again, I think it's that chalice, probably an extension of the one that was out elsewhere, but you can see how they've got it like little steps for seating. And there's steps here that lead up, but it just takes you to an upper part for like a little private section for a couple or something. And that's all I could find. I have no idea if there's any more to this place or not. I'm not even certain what's being used for the base of the stairs. It looks like 2x4s, but the rest of it I'm not positive. But it's a really cute place. I love the way it's put together. It's a little too dark for my taste. I think I would prefer more lighting, but I understand why they've got it dark. It's meant to be kind of like a seedy sort of place, I guess. You know, sort of. But just an example of some things. You don't have to go full plot. We've got a lot of people that are focusing more on kind of what we call micro plots or mini plots, using a fraction of the space, but being able to throw in all of that decor count into a more confined area to give more detail to what's going on. I'm sure if they had a bigger trying to fill up the whole plot with large structures, they might not be able to give so much attention to a lot of this little detail here. So that's the Pubbington Post by Victoria Hemmings. And the last place we're going to visit today is Treehound Stray Paw. I love the name. At least one I can pronounce. This one's called Dagon Maw Mountain, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this one too. You can see they've added, I think there's a special name for these archways, but I can't think of it. But they're using cylinders, walls, and pillars, I believe, to make this little archway here. I think that's a bowl for this little part here. Excuse me. For the little pens for the animals and stuff, it's decking pieces mostly, some pillars, and then for the roofing, it's the picnic tables. It's a really big fave for like the shack kind of look for a wooden roof. You do have to contend with the bracketry that comes with it, but especially for those that love the faux buildings, they work great. We saw a Chua City a few weeks back, I think. Is that what it's called? A Tory gate? Thank you, Google. Well, there you go. It's a Tory gate. I knew it had a special name. I just couldn't remember. So you have the pens. This is like I guess the blacksmith, where he comes and forges his weapons. So he's got his forge and such lit up. I guess this is meant to be like his anvil. Back here we have the church. You can see they're using the bell top oven as the little bell feature. The curved walls for a lot of the roofing, pillars. I love the simplicity of the little book holder here. Nothing fancy. And then they're using the sparking wire as the rope for pulling the bell. Behind the church you have the graveyard. Now the stones along the side of the graveyard, that's just the tips of the Draken fencing. It's got like really rough edges. It almost looks like dragon teeth or some kind of, rough looking stuff. That's what that is. Thorny logs for some of the crosses. Kind of a cute little arrangement. And then we have the garden area. Notice they're using oversized grain sacks for the earth, the little dirt mounds. So they have a nice pumpkin patch. It's just overgrowth, the very tops of the overgrowth laid down to make it like the ivy patchwork. And then here they have nicely arranged different types of grasses for the crops. Very cute for a farm plot. Looking for different ways of making, again, elevated areas. The little grain sacks worked nicely. get a look at where we're going to be heading shortly. I got to show this stuff down here first. Now, you can see that they do have like some walls. You see it here and a couple other places. And all along here, it's just oversized granite walls, and then they built these pillars. Now, we saw the version of the pillars from the Temple of Boo. This one, they did theirs a little bit differently. So you can see that there's a lot of variation you can give it to make it look unique to your own. But I had to show this for sure. It's a little hard to see. Little dragon wall sculpture thing. It looks like they're using mostly like the swirly stones for the clouds and like the poofy bits on the dragon itself, and then hugel statues for the dragon body itself. And then more swirly stones for the scales of his tail and everything. I thought that was really adorable. The little bit he's holding in his claws, that's just the file. And then, of course, the smoke is coming from a flare. Now, that's probably where a good substitute for that to get rid of the light that the blue flare gives off would be one of the smoke features from the actual cash shop smoke pack. Of course, it wouldn't have the blue, and it's probably that not as strong looking, but it would at least get rid of the light. But yeah, definitely a fun structure. I like that. It's basically like a painting, what we've seen before. The little mountains here are green pillows, for anyone wondering about that. And of course, the frame for it is just one of the metal plates. Now, I did sneak around in like all these little nooks and crannies because I was trying to figure out if there was an actual way to get underneath this big structure that I don't know if it's really a temple thing or what, but just to see if there was a way to get to a possible interior, like a bunker house or an actual prefab home, and I couldn't find one, so either I'm just blind as a bat or there really isn't an access, they've just covered it up. But here's the base of the waterfall here. Mostly just snow-covered rocks. There's some glacier pieces here. You'll see that like there and there. Some of the mountain. There's access to the upper area from here as well. This leads us to the little shack across the bridge. Hover part pieces for some of the base, the curved walls for the roofing. And then inside, it's like I guess it's like a brewery or still of some sort. He's like stirring the pot, just bowls inside a cylinder. And this is Draken fencing for this little oven thing that he's got set up. And notice how they're using, rather than the feeding troughs, they're just using the exile version of the cylinders as beer kegs. They're using the tops of a wine bottle for the little cork or the spout, spigot thingy. I don't know what you call it. But I thought that was it's simplified, but just looking at it, you know what it is. And I think that might be because they use these for the actual, like an actual bucket for this stuff, so they couldn't use them also for the barrels. Is it collarbone? That sounds nasty. I don't know why, but that sounds vulgar. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the front here. We'll come back to some of these details, but I want to make sure you understand how we got up here. There's the dragon mural thing. Again, it's one of those deals that from a distance you would think, oh, it'd be a great time to get a screenshot, but you can see a lot of the detail disappears because the pieces used, they fade out at a certain distance, but you get a better look at the wall at least. Yeah, exactly. So here's the entrance where we come in, and that leads you to, I don't know, like temple thingy, like got a very Asian feel for sure. They're using that same little gate thing, archway, slightly different, but it has that Asian feel to it. Here they have the little punching bags. Now notice these are just suspended in midair. They didn't even bother putting chains on there. You can, if you want. It could be that they ran out of decor limit and weren't able to. Or it's something they plan to do after they're finished adding other details that they want to make sure. So even though it's kind of suspended, it's okay. Now I noticed there's some coloring here. It looks like the animation from the test dummies. So maybe there's plan that to make them actually where you can practice against them. I have no idea, but I thought it was interesting. And of course here they're using that, I call it the pillow, but it's called a Drake and Shield, I think. They've colored it differently and using it as like one of those giant gongs. Okay, Beavis and Butthead fans. From here you can see the structure pretty good. They've got curved walls for that little flaring look. Again, it's a nice little Asian feel to it. Pillars. Most of the base is hover part pieces, and of course for those nice lit up windows, it's the metal dividers. Use that a lot. I feel a sneeze coming on, and it's not letting it come out. Here you can see that's where the church is. Entrance again, a little bit of a bird's eye view of the garden area, like a little bit of a village type feel. And then if we go into the building proper, notice the stairs, those are just pillars, Cassian version. We go inside, you see just how elaborate this is. Now it's kind of mirrored, but the use of each side is a little different, so it's not exactly mirrored. This little display here, I noticed some people asking about this in the forum when there were some screenshots of something that used a similar. That's just the upside down gear trophy. It's a big fave for like sculptures and paintings because of this little plaque or whatever. Got that foreign writing, and it's like a nameplate kind of thing. There's a few other items that have it, like some of the actual paintings and stuff, but this was probably the most flexible when it comes to like making a little pedestal for especially like a sculpture or something like this. And it just lends itself to like it's labeling it. Maybe it's a description of what it is, or it's the artist's name or something like that. That's a big fave thing though. On this side we have the kitchen eatery area. Again, they're using those cylinders as the kegs. This here is the Merg explosive, and then that brown table that I hate so much with the really long legs on it, and then the Red Moon vent. And for the fire, I think it's a combination of either the small campfire, or it's just one of the fire bits from the pack, plus the cauldron thing, or it could be maybe one of the toxic barrels or something to give that extra smoke coming off of there. I don't have my sound on, so I don't know if it's making a bubbly noise or crackly noise, but that would probably be a giveaway as to what it is. But it looks like a lot of items just going into this little cookery thing. A lot of time and effort into packing all of the shelves. You know, a lot of newcomers to the game may not appreciate how we've had to meticulously place all of these items into these empty trophy cabinets, but one of those things that someone that does build notices. Again, hover part piece for the little countertop here. I'm gonna try and get a good shot here. Kind of hard because I don't want to stand on it. But you can see they've actually made some little sushi bits. I imagine it's tires or some such for the round, and then looks like pink and green pillows for some of the filling, and then probably snow clumps for the white parts. It's one of those things that you really have to get in close to notice it. It's easy to overlook it if you just got your camera out. You almost don't even see it. The chopsticks, of course, are thorny logs. And then here, we've got more chopstick stuff. It's just they're using the hanging fruit with a little bit of greenery for like lettuce, I guess. And then the rolled tribal mats. It's the same thing that's being used here, but this is the flattened out version. Rolled tribal mats for maybe like, I don't know, egg rolls or something. And then here for like, I can get my tail to quit squishing in there. It almost looks like a soup, even though they have chopsticks, which you can't eat soup with chopsticks, but that's what it kind of looks like, is a tomato soup. And it looks like it's just the red chua pillows with a little bit of greenery or color. Now again, the stools, yes, they look a little short. It's just because they've got it sunk down into the floor. It's really the ones that's got the really tall legs. And of course, again, the cylinders for the barrels here. Notice they're using the feeding troughs for the bigger ones. Okay. Back across the way. I don't think there was anything, no. Let's just take a look here. Here they've chosen to display special items. And then you have a little bit of a weird fountain thingy. It's just a pink orange window, or like maybe it's a moon pool of some kind of moon well thingy. I have no idea. I like how they've got a giant hammer. It's like the most common item ever, and it's on display. Like maybe it's supposed to be, what's the name of that Thor's hammer? The Mew 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 Mew. I don't know what it's called. Nothing there. Over here we have the library study room. These little shelves here, it's just the empty trophy cabinet. Or actually, I don't guess it's the empty one, but it's the cabinet upside down. Notice the bookshelves here. It's the same bookshelf. They've just pushed it down into the floor. So you only see half of it. So it makes it a shorter version. So yeah, this here is the same thing here. It's just upside down and squished. Yeah. Now, I forget where the blue flame fires come from. Well, it says Frostforge Brazier, so that's handy. So I guess it's something that you can pick up from Arctera itself. But again, notice the columns. It's just cylinders and domes. And then you've got the staircases leading up to the next level. So here we have some more practice area. I guess it's like a dojo kind of feel. Got the little mat here, some weapon racks, even some for those that get injured, little medical table. And then you go up the next floor, and that's where you have what I call the barracks type of thing, the sleeping. While this is pretty barren, considering what could possibly go in here, I love the way the rooms are done with the trim. I think it's more reflected in here than it is on the outside, but I like the way it's done. It's a nice way of decorating. It just has a nice feel to it. I like the spacing that they chose, the way it's set up. I don't know. I guess I'm just weird like that, but I like the way it looks. But it's just sleeping bags in each little room. It's very monkish feeling, you know, just got the bare necessities. But again, I never could find any kind of way of like going down inside anything. So um, as far as I know, there's no access to an interior anywhere. But you can see, like, let me see if we can show. I don't know if there's any way for me to get up higher. Bugger. No. Woohoo, I made it. Nice. I think this part here is where those rooms were. So you can't really see the detail until you go inside the rooms, but you can see how much work they put into this construction and making it look, you know, keeping that Asian. We've seen a few other examples of something similar and the problems they had. Like there was the one, it was like a really, uh, like one of those Asian castle type things. And theirs was more faux than anything because they couldn't, because the way they put it together, there was no way that they could actually have an actual interior. And this one managed to do so really nicely. You have plenty of room space inside where you can put things. And the other one just wasn't able to do that. It seems to be as high as I can go. But yeah, a nice little plot. Again, every little plot, even if you're not looking for an Asian theme, there's things you can take from it You know, maybe you're wanting to do some kind of a little uh, gym type of thing and you're looking for ideas for that, or um, the pillars. Those could be used in so many different types of themes than just this one. Um, how they've set up the walls around the plot, the entranceway, and especially this part here with the little, I don't know what you call those things, shacks and things, the ground here. I love this idea, seeing the dirt. So yeah, so that was Dagoon Mall Mountain by Treehound Straypaw. Really great little build. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can get higher. Maybe over here. Might be too. Nope, there we go. There you get a really good shot of the building. This is what I do when I'm looking for screenshots. If I'm trying to show off a place on Twitter or something, this would be how I do it. I find a good spot and then I just kind of, that'd be a good place to take the picture. Alt W, I think, for taking off the UI, for someone that doesn't know that. Do you see all of the glacier spikes and everything being used as part of the mountains? Again, it's actually a winter plot, but it doesn't really feel too odd. Maybe partly because they chose not to do the snow, but of course if you use the snow, then all of that would be snowing inside as well, since it's a custom house. It has no brains as far as staying out of the roof. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed all of the homes that we visited today. Again, we will be doing this every Wednesday, and of course we're alternating between regions. So next week we'll be back on Javit. As usual, if you have a house, have a friend that has a house, a friend of a friend, a guildmate, an enemy, you know, or just a complete stranger, that you know of a house that you think deserves to be showcased on our stream, be sure and give me a note. I'm happy to take suggestions. The only other way I go about getting them is just me randomly visiting houses, you know, from time to time, come across one that I think is interesting, that I think others might find inspiring, and you know, the details that they've put together. And so I'm always open to other suggestions. Now, we've toured like close to, well, I think it's probably over 350 now. Especially those on Javit, most of those we have come across, so it's going to be hard pickings as far as finding one we haven't already toured. That said, if we've toured it in the past and there's significant changes from the last time we visited, I'm happy to do retours, so that's no problem whatsoever. It's not like once I tour someone's house, I'm never going back. It's just I prefer us to show off new things for the most part. The only times we do like repeats is like for like a kind of going down memory lane type of thing, which reminds me we do have our 100th house tour episode coming up next month. Now, last time we did this for our 50th one, I actually took requests from our viewers for homes that they found to be the most memorable from the year prior, or from that year. I'm not going to do that this time, I think. I think this time I'm going to do my favorites from the past year or two. I think I'm just going to do a kind of an overall. So I think I'm just going to, you know, it's not going to be like I'm going to show off everybody's house that I find as a favorite, but some of the most memorable ones. As long as they're still open and intact, I will be including them. And I think I'll just pick maybe my top 5 or so favorite homes. It doesn't. There's not going to be any particular theme. I'm going to try and keep it so that I'm not like showing the 5 of the same person's homes, even though I know there's quite a few builders that have a huge collection of great and incredible plots. So I'm going to try and be fair on that part, but just in advance, don't feel badly if I don't include yours in. What I may do is have a list of homes that I want to go ahead and suggest. You know, maybe we don't show them, but I want to include them, that kind of thing. I might do it that way. But I think that'll be easier because we're already coming down to the last few weeks before that happens, and I don't want to pressure people into having to go through all of our old videos hunting for places, so I'm just going to rely on myself this time and hopefully make it something interesting for you guys. I will say I have reached out to Carbine directly. I guess it's been a couple weeks now. I haven't heard back from them, but that's not surprising because the last time I did this, they didn't really say anything directly as well until I got a package from them. I'm not going to count on it though, so I'm not going to advertise anything about any kind of swag that I might be able to pass out during that 100th house tours episode. So no promises, guys. I'm hoping, you know, fingers crossed that they come through with that. But again, I haven't heard anything back from them, so I'm not sure if that's going to come about or not. So if I find out beforehand, I will, of course, let you guys know so that you can make sure and make plans. But we're going to kind of keep it subdued this time, I think. I have a feeling it's going to go very quietly. But yeah, thanks again for joining, guys. Hope you have a wonderful week, and good luck with any projects you're working on. And again, uh, be sure and check out the Builders Wanted section and see if you're interested in contributing or helping out with those that are looking for specific types of work from fellow builders. Because it's, you know, it's a community thing. We want to help support each other, and that's one way of doing it, by sharing your building gifts with others. So yeah, hope you have a great day, great week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.